Oh boy, here we go again. I've been shrunken down to the size of an ant and had to survive in a backyard. No, wait, it's not a backyard, it's a park. This is Grounded 2. We seem to be working for Omninent. In fact, this chick right here, or at least helping her out. Omninent have been up to their usual tricks, conducting all sorts of scientific experiments in Brook Hollow Park. It's been 2 years since we were first shrunk down, and now we're going to rescue our dear friend Burgle, as it seems our other dear friend Wendell has gone stark raving mad and assassinated our robot friend. Will we ever have the good times back? Will we be able to find out where Wendell's gone and maybe put Burgle back together? What exactly is Omninent's endgame? And who is a mysterious stranger that seems hell-bent on destroying Omninent, Wendell, Burgle and us? Let's find out. Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Yes, this is a recap of my members only Let's Plays. Decided to do them members only because they don't really generally get enough views, but at least you get to see the mega edit of all my adventures up to and facing a mysterious stranger. There will be a part 2 of this where I'll obviously take on another formidable foe, but we'll leave that to then. So if you don't want to wait for part 2, then go and check out all 21 of my Let's Play episodes for members only and help support the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, leave a like. Let's go. So after waking up with some short-term memory loss, we got a brand new Scabby and a corridor lined with dead employees in memoriam. But who is this? This one isn't seemingly dead. After some more tutorials in crafting a spear and taking on some mites, we were close to being ready to leave. First though, an SOS from our dear friend Burgle. Burgle! And then we were out of the onboarding centre, ready to explore the huge and massive Brook Hollow Park. What has changed since Grounded 2 years ago? What's new? What's the same? And are we going to survive? Well, this snail's probably survived longer than we did, since I couldn't kill it as it had an impenetrable shell. I was guided over to the brand new ranger outposts. These are scattered all across the park, giving us respite as well as resource analyzers. And maybe a few more secrets. As a pro of Grounded 1 with 1200 hours, I knew the story. I knew I had to go and gather resources and maybe find a decent base location. I chose one pretty close to the spawn, way away from certain enemies that could get me, and took a look at more new creatures like the caterpillar. Oh, it's so cute! Oh! And yes, despite them being cute as heck, I had to go and fulfill my curiosity to see what they had when I killed them. Next up, more basics, building myself a crafting bench, getting some supplies, and then making sure I could get some armour to give me some sort of protection. Took out my first ant. These guys have had a little bit of a glow up, and I went back to the snail. Turns out you could kill them as long as you hit their soft squishy parts in time before they retreat, but we wouldn't be able to actually demolish their shell for a while yet. A big meta from speedruns in Grounded was being able to throw your weapons. It looks like that's been nerfed pretty much, unless you're going to be using spears only. All this was done in a day and it was getting very, very dark. Big rip to this Omninent worker. And then I made my way through a cave so I could get through to the back of the ranger station that was locked. I found out I would need a buggy, the brand new addition to Grounded 2, to chomp through certain routes. Before finally making it in and talking to Sloan Bjormont. This is the new leader of Omninent.
How are you feeling? Are you injured? I am so relieved. Listen, I've been actually meaning to apologize in person. I am so sorry for what Director Schmachter did to you and your friends.
Who we don't strictly trust straight away, but does seem to have a lot of answers, and maybe we are working with her in some way. Friend or foe, I guess we'll have to find out, but I'm definitely keeping a bit of caution every time I speak to her. Lots of new upgrades to check out, including the Omni tool. No more needing an axe or a hammer separate. Instead, the one tool does it all, but we'd still have to find certain parts to upgrade it. And after a busy day, it was time for a sleep. Next morning, off to the snack bar anthill, looking for a data disk that would help us maybe find or locate Wendell or Burgle. He was meant to find a researcher as well, but they seem to have been dead a pretty long time. In the chest next to it was exactly what we needed, and this would give us the equipment and tools to go ahead and make ourselves a hatchery so we could find and get ourselves our own ant soldier buggy. Sounds easy, right? Yeah, you're looking at me dying a bunch of times as I try to explore another big anthill that had some of the eggs that we needed. Huge long tunnels, pretty easy to get lost with multiple ways to the same locations. I definitely took the hardest route. And with horrible starter gear and maybe a few months out of practice in combat, especially learning some of the new stuff, it was definitely hard. Oh, oh, it's an orc! It's an orc weaver! Bro, no. Oh no. Please tell me you can't get in. This seemed absolutely crazy to me. I was taking on one of these guys so early. And with my armour absolutely already busted from my travails against the ants, I didn't last long. Oh, come on, I nearly had him. So the orcs are pretty formidable, doing more damage, but actually slightly weaker than their counterparts. That receiver on their head though would play a big important part of the story later. Upgrade rocks are returning from Grounded 1, woohoo! Getting these would enable me to increase my armour and my weapons with more damage and more protection. Or there'll be some while before we can break open any tier 3 items. I finally made it with my armour absolutely busted, grabbed one of the ant soldier eggs and tried to make my way out. But again, it was pretty tough. There was just a plethora of more ants taking me down. Top tip, go back the way that you came, not the other way, because you're going to have to kill about 50 ants, I swear. Just run, just run. Oh my god, I made it out. That's taken far too long, people, you don't understand. I made a mad dash for it home with more ants chasing me the whole way and finally got back to base with my hatchery and popped the ant in. Sadly, there was a few bugs. My ants were just disappearing, and instead of just reloading the save like any sane normal person, I spent a whole day running back to the anthill and grabbing another one. Made it back home, crafted an ant nest, and finally, yeah, done it that time, woohoo! Yeah, boy, we did it! Yes, I'm on my buggy! I'm on my buggy! Oh my god, it's... Oh, this is pod racing! With my new best friend, I went and took a look at some of the routes that I weren't able to break earlier, although some treats may need a bit more of an upgrade for my Omni tool before I could get them, like this gold milk molar. And I spent a bit of time finally doing something with my base. Really, a base is too much of a strong word, more of an encampment. Grabbed some new equipment to help me breathe through some toxic areas and checked out some of the armour sets that I might want to get, while I grabbed more resources and fought off against more orc weavers. It's slow going using just your buggy for combat, but it's definitely viable if you really want to not get hit too much yourself. I found a Minotaurs and Mermen D&D book with all the rule sets that the teens would normally play with, got myself into some trouble, decided that maybe running away was the best option. Oh. Whoa, whoa, scorpion, scorpion, no, run, he's about to die, oh my god, my buggy's about to die. I did a wide circle back and found a stink bug, but of course that spelled trouble. Really should have put on that gas mask I was looking at earlier. These weapons were a new addition to Grounded, and I finally went and crafted some of the Might Dusters. They made quick work of all of these larvae. Carrying on exploring, I found an old friend, nay foe. Oh, it's the furry one. He's been upgraded to level 3 now. Oh, that is horrifying. So I spent a lot of time in the southwest exploring, looking for resources and any kind of interesting stuff. Found myself underneath a hedge and plenty of orc weavers to take on. Wouldn't it be great if I could have one of these as a buggy later? Another new creature encounter, cockroaches, seemingly pretty docile unless you attack them. So a perfect opportunity to take out both this guy and the stink bug as they weren't clearly getting on. Yeah, I know, third partying sucks, but hey, you got to do anything you can to survive. Okay, I killed it. Oh, but maybe I could fight the baby one. No! Oh my god! Oh my god! So yeah, lots of bugs can jump pretty high and far now. It was a tough fight and definitely a challenge with my really early game gear, but I did it. Yes! Oh! Oh! What? No! That is horrifying! Oh my god! No way! Yes way! They seem to have a second life. So yeah, not always good enough just to kill them the once. Oh! With lots of the bug parts, I could go and scan and unlock even more recipes, including proper spider gear and now cockroach armour. Encountered another old foe, this time bombardier beetles, who definitely had a much more dangerous upgrade, with their acid attacks now applying a huge ton of spicy damage. This time we got third partied by a scorpion, but it didn't really help me much. Oh! Oh my gosh! Back to it the next day to try and get my stuff again, and this time I managed to work out how to beat them up, although my buggy, poor resty soul, was having a hard time. This was finally when I started to duck 'em, dodge 'em, you know, that one, with the brand new dodge mechanic. I'd previously just been blocking a ton and it really wasn't working out as much, but now I had another tool, which maybe wouldn't help so much though, in a deep dark dank tunnel. More alt variants hitting huge damage. Oh, wow. My mum didn't raise no quitter. I returned hurriedly, trying to save my poor buggy in just in time, and then finished the job taking on the scorpion. There'd been quite a commotion underneath the decking where I was trying to find another data disk, with lots of cockroach nymphs attacking me, but again I managed to just about survive and got the objective.
Okay, I guess I have to take you into consideration.
This was the second or third time this mysterious stranger had contacted me, giving me big warnings to pretty much not get involved. But who the heck were they? We won't find that out for a while, so I continued grabbing more resources and a new recipe for more gauntlets. Northern shredders sound pretty badass and they look pretty cool too. With all the scorpion killing I'd done, I'd worked out the recipe for Scorpidote, giving me more protection against venom. Back to the grinds, killing more creatures, making upgrades for my encampment, and always a little bit more time for killing spooders. Also found the real scale of the park, which I hadn't really noticed enough before this. Absolutely huge. How was I ever going to find Wendell or Burgle? Grabbed another milk molar. These are returning upgrades for your health, stamina, or how much food and water you need. And then I went out and upset another brand new creature, the butterflies. To be fair, they are definitely a bit more of a reskin of the poor moths, with new added abilities that they can freeze you. But relatively easy, this helped unlock brand new armor sets for later. Then more killing, more upgrades, this time fully crafting a spider suit. Following Sloane's guidance, I placed down some spike strips and this immediately started an invasion by orc creatures. Things got pretty hairy, I can't lie, loads of ants, orb weavers and more, but I eventually managed to thin them out. This mysterious stranger wasn't going to stop sending her waves of minions she was seemingly controlling.
Thank God you're still alive after this ordeal. Really? What did you learn? We could work together to calm her down, or even defeat her.
Sloane didn't really have that many answers, but definitely wanted me to take care of the stranger, which was making me even more suspicious. I mean, maybe fair enough, the stranger had gone and killed a bunch of omniscient scientists pretty much by releasing lots of orc creatures and messing up experiments, but yeah, I was still very suspicious. More exploring, this time I started slowly heading north, across the deck outside the hot dog stand, and while mosquitoes are definitely some of the most annoying creatures in Grounded 1, I think maybe scorpions take their place in Grounded 2. Certainly just how many there were. Came across more orc creatures guarding another ranger's outpost, and this was definitely a challenge. But my buggy just about held firm as I froze, until something bigger and much more deadly came and took me down. No, I'm sorry, I had to leave you. How attached have you guys got to your buggies, and what or who have you named them after? But back to the trash bag outpost, and I was defending stuff for my life, stupidly making this scorpion follow me in, but I managed to run away from him and get outside. Maybe smartly, I decided to skip the night, and when I woke up, the scorpion was gone. I wasn't complaining, I explored lots more of the area and found another of these pneumatic tubes that seemed to be linked to all the ranger stations. But don't worry, another scorpion came and kicked my ass as soon as I pretty much left the station. They roam around in packs, usually with a couple of scorpions, a junior and then eventually some of the big bad boys. But with hammer weapons dealing the most damage, it was time for me to get good with my club. I'd been on the lookout for berries as I knew I'd be able to craft some to make different armours, and I thought these were winners, but these were lingonberries, tier 2, and my Omni tool wasn't upgraded enough to cut them down. Also found another ranger station where I'd be able to customise my scabby if I got the right parts, as well as the Omni tool as well. I had managed to pick up a few blueberry pieces from chests, so I knew that I had to go and get the jerky racks up and running, and went and placed a few of them on the dryer. Next up, a trip to the picnic table. Yeah, let's go and have some wine, some nice food. But I did come across some new resource first, and that was milkweed. Breaking these open with my new tier 2 upgraded axe would give me milkweed tufts so I could use them to craft new building tiles. Afterwards, went back to the picnic table and found another dead Ominent worker.
Irregular covalent SNPI 42Z particles!
You're such a nerd, Pete. You're such a nerd. Made my way up, and it was definitely perilous, with loads of spider webs and orb weavers all around, as well as bees, mites and spiderlings. Came across some spicy candy for the first time, but again I didn't have the right tool to grab them just yet. More new resources, needle bundles from the pine trees that were all around the park. These would help complete eventually for me to craft some new base parts. Night came on quick and I saw a giant campfire that maybe I'll be exploring soon, but there's still a lot to do on the table as I made my ascent. Clearly I need to come back with the right codes later for this briefcase. Made my way through a cooler box. My ant didn't want to get chilly, so I left him behind as I explored and found icicles which I couldn't break just yet, and finally eventually made my way out of the cold before I froze to death. And I finally reached the top and the objective, taking on another orc creature, this time a ladybug, as it guarded another orc transmitter that I had to turn on to try and triangulate exactly where Burgle was. Made pretty quick work of him, to be fair, and yeah, turned it on. One down, but a hell of a lot more to find. Now on the descent, I finally found more blueberries and got to work chopping every single one I could find. So we're meant to be like junior scientists, right? All helping Burgle in the science club. Turns out shallow water isn't going to break you fall. Okay, it's not them damn scorpions, it's more spiders. Yeah. This time a bunch of orc ones guarding a milk cache with loads of milk molars. I'd upgraded myself to the northern shredders, which were slashing them to bits. Whoa, I love this guy, man. It's so just good. It moves well, it looks good when it runs. Great animations on it, honestly. Next day I went back south to check out the trash heap, and you guessed it, more scorpions. These guys are just absolutely everywhere. But I was finally learning their attack patterns. They weren't definitely as much of a threat. Something else was though, and it was the toxic gas. I made my way up and then remembered I did have a gas mask. As we finally got to the top of the rubbish, and yes, another orc transmitter. There was more candies, including ice shards. These would help me out with some fresh defense against the gas and other burning acids. But before I could turn on the receiver, I still had to take care of loads of cockroaches and yet another stink bug. Progress was going well. This was the second one I'd done now, and the stranger seemed to be getting more and more angry. The blueberries I had found still maybe weren't enough, and I managed to finally locate a grove of them all to the south. Once I took care of the orc bees guarding them, it was simply a case of shoot and slice and then run back home. Although I did stop off for a battle with another blue butterfly, utilising my new tier 2 bow. Another orc raid, more of the spiders and more of the exploding weevils. I'd come across a couple of them on the picnic table. Quickly killing them stopped them from blowing up in my face though. Made sure to cook up a batch of blueberry leather and then retired for the night. And it was back up to the north part of the park, exploring more of the hedges and taking on more orc creatures. Gotta love a bit of distance cheese, right? And with these orc arrows, I was making quick work of any of these orc creatures. Nice, easy, easy. Transmitter number 3 done, and more exploring with my buggy, going through areas that I couldn't access before. Came across a strange ringing phone, which had Palco 3 written on it, which technically means stage 3. I was starting to have suspicions exactly how Wendell had gone mad. Maybe he'd been controlled by an orc receiver. No! That sucks. Maybe the phone was the way that it'd been triggered. Speculation at the moment, something that isn't is a wolf spider and a scorpion, both trying to kill you at the same time, but thankfully they turned on each other before I eventually went and tried to finish off the wolf spider on my own. They'd had a serious upgrade with their attacks, but somehow felt slightly easier than they used to be in Grounded 1. Cleared out the rest of the danger and then went and started exploring the podium where Wendell had been given a speech before he suddenly went mad. Making my way to the top, I found more loot on another poor dead Ominent. Hope these guys have got a ton of life insurance at least for their family and loved ones. I'd gone and got an upgrade to my hammer, so I can now go and grab lots of the gold milk molars as well as a bunch of candies. It was pretty precarious going up the podium, but eventually I made it through. There were just so many of these spicy candies. It was all pretty good as I made my way to, yep, the goal, turning on another transmitter. First though, take care of more orc butterflies, which again pretty easy with the orc arrows. Grabbed myself some crow feathers, but still hadn't actually got close enough to peep the crow, and found a code for the briefcase, at least one part of it. Fourth and maybe final transmitter, I still had a task to do though, find some mysterious forces guarding something in a cave nearby. Oh my god, it's 4! Bro, that is not cool. That is not cool. There we go. Cool bro, chill man, what's going on fam? Eventually, with the help of actually a regular scorpion, we did take him out. More resources got, and suddenly an impenetrable rock. Nah, just needed a good explosive. Eventually, when I realised that I might not want to get myself blown up in the process. The reward, a Scarlet Aegis shield, pretty much a ladybug shield, that would help give my buggy some health every time I perfect blocked, as well as some more resources and more progression of the story. So at this point I was trying to unlock all sorts of new gear and check everything out, including the brand new mage, with each of these gear sets really giving a focus on the archetypes of indeed mage, fighter, ranger and rogue. And for sure a great weapon to use, a ice staff to take on these guys as they're pretty weak to it. More cockroaches to kill, and yep, it never gets easier with these headless versions. And then again another alt raid. It was go 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 as I tried to explore more of the campfire zone. Sometimes it all just gets a bit much. No! No! Hey, at least this isn't a one life challenge. Things were getting hot and spicy now as I came across more charcoal pieces and more orc bug army. I know cockroaches are pretty yucky, but I gotta say, I got used to them pretty much in Grounded 2. They definitely weren't as bad looking as I thought. Not up close at this scale anyway. I mean sure, it's pretty gross the way they just spurt out their insides from their body when they're headless. They're kinda cute in a way, right? So despite me not having the right proper gear for this, I decided yeah, let's go and have a party, let's go and have a barbecue. I was literally only getting a bit of heat protection from my mage's headband as I killed one after another, just absolute loads of these orc cockroach nymphs. Eventually making my way on top of the grill and yep, more of these guys. Lads, this is stupid. This is madness. This is Sparta. Maybe not, maybe Brook Hollow Park. So of course there was a cockroach queen over watching all of the nymphs. I cheesed her as much as I could with my remaining arrows, but I was running into a big problem. I was going to die because I was thirsty. Could I kill her before I died? No! She's got to be dead right. No! 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 Orcs, I didn't bring a canteen with me. No! Always come prepared. I raced back, braved the heat once more, and this time managed to grab some of the charcoal pieces in the campfire itself. So something was amiss here. The cockroach queen was still missing her head, but she'd gained all of her health back. I was really using the wrong kind of gear here, but I just decided safety was the priority. Unloading a barrage of ice shots, I managed to freeze her a few times before eventually doing the job. Actually dead now? The mission still wasn't over. Seems the stranger had a cache of more spicy upgrades nearby and more orc creatures guarding them.
Stop right there! You were gonna turn around and leave my candies and the soldiers guarding them alone!
These turns out to be pretty tough, especially with my mage gear. Again, not being the best for them. Eventually I made it through and got myself a whole ton again of spices. With more and more resources, I could definitely go and explore more weapons and gear, and I crafted the cockroach set, which would fast become one of my favourites. My new objective was to go and explore the rose gardens. After making my way through pipes and climbing through a small little tunnel, I was through a maze of stones, taking on more orc creatures, including ants, larvae and bombardier beetles. Stranger had taken Burgle's head and left it inside the statue, which was secretly a Ominent station. The statue was the whole reason we were all here together, celebrating Wendell and Burgle, as well as us, saving a day from 2 years prior. It was all meant to be a happy occasion with the unveiling of the statue and the ceremony, but of course things went bad. Anywho, after unlocking another ranger station and a quicker way in and out, I went and carried on exploring the paths. Some really nice big areas here if you wanted to build a base. I made my way through another part of the Rose Garden and another ranger station. When I came out, I had another orc wave. Who is letting all of these dudes inside my ranger station? These raids were definitely getting stronger with so many different variants. Oh, that was just a regular bee. My bad, my bad. My bad, my guy. And things weren't helping every time they pulled another bug into the battle. But again, I just about managed to survive taking on all of them. Not the bees, not the bees. They'd kind of done me a favour though. They'd killed a mantis nearby, which I hadn't come across or faced before, but I knew they'd be pretty dangerous if they were anything like the orchid ones in Grounded 1. After heading back and trying to find a way to climb up to the statue, came across more orc scorpions and a pretty terrifying new boss, Captain Turbo. Well, mini boss at least. To be fair, I took him on pretty well the first time with just one crucial little mistake. I didn't finish him off quickly enough. Oh, what? No, he's so nearly dead! As the sting in his tail had the last word. That proper sucks. And after that, it was a bit tough to finish him off as I desperately tried to revive my buggy. But eventually, third time lucky, with a bit of stealth, I managed to do it. Yeah! Oh! Whew! I broke through more branches and headed up inside the hedge that surrounded the statue. Came across a way or checkpoint station that seemingly had a door that I might be able to open from the other side eventually. Wasn't much else to really grab, so I made my way out and finally realised that there was still a long way to go before I reached the top. Kind of peaceful and nice around this area with all the roses and petals, apart from of course some larvae and another mantis. Eventually I made my way through and again across more of the hedges and branches, taking on more orc creatures. And finally I'd done it. I'd reached the top of the statue, well the base of the statue at least, and it was absolutely huge. Now time to explore the insides of the network centre. This would end up becoming a gauntlet of challenges, facing off against absolute loads of orc bugs as I tried to work out a way to the top. There were lots of pneumatic tubes taking me up and down. Then I came across something really strange. Pete Box, it's me, it's my face. It seems that Omninent had been keeping tabs on us for a very, very long time. Or was this the work of the mysterious stranger? With info about me working for Omninent during the summer, Max trying to be a comedian and failing, really creepy showing Willow's birth tag, and Hoops maybe not doing as well as she should be doing in her school reports. Who would do all this, or why would they have it set out? Anyway, didn't have that much time to ponder as there was still plenty of orc bugs to get through as I carried on making my way up. Oh no fam. Yes fam, another cockroach queen. I'm so sorry I misgendered you, General Berserker. This guy was a bit more formidable than some of the other cockroach queens I've taken on. But luckily, the armour I was wearing, made from his own parts, gave me slight protection, or well, maybe more than slight, against certain elemental effects, like indeed spicy. Oh no! He's back alive again. Oh no, not the head thing again. Not the head thing again. These guys just don't know when to die. Before I burned to a crisp, I did manage to finish him off.
Omninent locks their employees inside when the network is down. And I made sure it is down.
Stranger was seemingly very confident as I was still making my way to the top, and now realised I had 3 different objectives to gain access to the main way up. I grabbed a special keycard from another Omninent worker that would gain access to some of the doorways, and then realised that I didn't have enough repair materials for my armour. Another cockroach battle ensued, and yeah, these guys weren't as much of a challenge as they were. So, another transmitter turned on, made my way through some broken corridors and turned on the second one. Third one was a little bit more complicated, having to find 3 breaks in wiring in a corridor before I could actually turn on the third switch. So finally done it though, and now we could progress. Another pneumatic tube and even more orc to deal with. It really was a tough go all the way through, with my helmet breaking and so much of my other gear really on its last legs. But we'd finally done it, more or less, with just one more creepy corridor to go through, which was really giving me Aliens vibes, as loads of the eggs started to hatch and spiderlings would attack me. It was kind of cool to go through this corridor, something we hadn't really done before in Grounded. The level design in number 2 was definitely an improvement. Eventually made my way through and we were here. The final encounter maybe with the mysterious stranger and hopefully rescuing Burgle.
Hello again. In the yard, you were warriors. That's who I want to see. Your true selves.
How does she know? How does she know? So V knew us from the backyard. This was really strange. Could she be the 15? Could she be someone else entirely? We still don't really have enough clues. What I did know was she was tough as nails. Oh, no way.
It's embarrassing me.
Hitting me with her spicy katana, absolutely roasting me, and yeah, I died. Back on it again though, with my armour breaking once more. I whittled her down enough this time to get to her second phase, unleashing some devastating AoE effects. So it was pretty tough, but I did just about learn how she attacked and managed to keep myself away long enough to survive and get a few more hits in. What's she going? Only she'd stop blocking. What was this? Was she leaving already? Had I bested her enough? No. She brought in some help. Say hello to Bandit. Oh, come on. No. And yeah, turns out this guy was even more deadly than the mysterious stranger. After so many deaths, I couldn't face it anymore, and I did the unthinkable. I reloaded a save. Not that it helped that much, as most of my gear was already still about to break. My pattern of attack was obviously get up close and block really well in the first stage, and then once she started doing the AoE effects, use my magical staff, given she's kind of meant to be maybe a little bit more weak to fresh damage. And then just use the pillars to stay away from Bandit as much as possible and sneak in a few hits before he pounced. No! Yes! Also realising I'd done all this with one of the most basic early game weapons, so I was still feeling pretty proud of myself that I did bash up Bandit.
You can have Burgle's head. I got what I needed. I gotta go. Dr. Wendell Tully is waiting for me.
So the stranger departed and left me with a horrifying gift. Burgle's poor head, my boy. Facing against the stranger, who was going by V, I had unlocked a new mutation and also grabbed a key and a recipe for the katana. I would just need to find some spicy globs to make it.
Burgle has information. Perhaps repair Burgle because Burgle loves young human.
Another awkward call with Sloan, and I was free to leave the network centre. Although I did ponder quite a bit of the blueprints that V had been leaving around with her graffiti, hinting at more deadly versions of Orc to come in the future with laser beams, frickin' laser beams, and maybe the location of where I'd find the chest with the globules I needed for the spicy katana. So I made my way through Sloan's penthouse office and finally out on top of the statue. It took me around 30 hours, 33 hours maybe to get to this point, and I still had so much to do. Well, that will be an adventure for part 2 of my first playthrough of Grounded 2. If you do want to see the actual full-length adventures, like I said, 21 episodes, charting all my progress, everything I've done up to this point, plus how I went and got ready for Axel and took on the biggest boss we've ever seen in Grounded history, then go ahead and become a member today and support the channel. I know it might seem a bit harsh not showing everyone my Let's Plays, but they just don't do as well enough as some of my other content in the long term, and so that can harm the channel. That said, I have got something special I'm working on. I'm going to do a one life challenge between me and my buggy, that if I fail I have to start again, we'll see if we can complete all of Grounded 2 so far. But thank you for watching if you got this far anyway, and yeah, look out for part 2 coming in the next week or so. Thanks for the support. Come and join Discord, show us your journey, adventures with pictures and your best builds for taking on creatures and more, and I'll see you right back for more very soon.